in the area surrounds you. And with all that red eyes, they all look evil as sin.
Mine?
Yeah, was it a pigeon? Was it a pigeon?
No.
Which one was it that pooped on me? Was it a pigeon or
It was a pigeon. That was a pigeon.
I figured it was a pigeon. I figure I've told this a lot of times. I don't know if I have or not. But
that doesn't really have anything to do with what we're talking about, baby.
Okay, but he said souls. Yes. Goals, and I was like, yes, I want to talk about this now. So, are you going to let me talk about it?
Go ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, one time, me and Mom were walking to the store. I hear something, and I look down to see poop on my skirt. But I didn't know that, because I was like, 5, 6? I was like, Mama, what's that?
The bird had pooped on her.
Now I hate pigeons.
Well, you and every New Yorker, so you're in good company. I like to call pigeons flying rats, but whatever. Anyway, the point is that the reason he says that people see red eyes shine is that the birds have red around their eyes. But it was late when I was feeding these gulls, or whatever you want to call them.
Gulls.
And I didn't think they had red eye shine. I thought they had red around their eyes and they looked freaky. I didn't like it. And I got away from it as fast as I could because, again, you don't ever just feed one gull. Everyone in the area is suddenly like, ooh, he's giving away food. And they get very resentful if they don't get some too.
Yeah, every seagull in the area goes at you. And if you don't give them bread, attack!
Well, they didn't attack me, but they did. They sure got close.
Get out of my bubble.
Yeah.
Get out of my bubble.
All right.
Kind of the way that Brownie is getting in your Uncle Danny's bubble.
Yeah.
Except he's being quiet and he doesn't have red in his eyes. And while he is a little gross, it's just because he's a part Chihuahua and he can't help that.
Yeah, so, he's a barky little
Mothman.
The point is that, so that's what the creature looks like. And that it was seen dozens of times in Point Pleasant. Mm-hmm. Now, that is not the last time it's seen.
Uh-huh.
In the 1990s, just before the Chernobyl disaster, if you look at Russian history, according to the Georgian newspaper, and I'm going to mispronounce this because I'm not Russian. Sorry, Russian listeners. We do have a couple. So the Denaya Gruzia, Russian ufologists claim that Mothman sightings in Moscow foreshadowed the 1999 Russian apartment bombings. The Russian journalist interviewed the archaeologist Robert Moswell from Sydney, who had been in the exclusion zone several times. It was on the territory of the accident that Robert first heard the story of the Chernobyl thrush as an omen of something terrible, which, by the way, is what the Russians were calling it until people began to figure out that the description of the Chernobyl thrush tallied with the description of the Mothman.
Alrighty.
And many of the people who saw it were tormented by nightmares. You know, like you would be if you saw a sandhill crane.
You mean Mothman. I caught the sarcasm. I just was being ornery. Go ahead.
Ornery. That's what our whole family's made up of.
Yeah, how did this happen? I'm the normal one here.
Oh, no.
You're a liar.
Okay, you've just been quiet. That doesn't make you normal. It makes you quiet.
It makes you quiet. You can't.
It's worth a shot.
You can't say you're normal if you're just quiet. You're not saying anything.
What? That's funny.
What?
There were multiple sightings, like I say, in Russia, but prior to Chernobyl and prior to the apartment bombings. In fact, Robert Moskow, that gentleman that I just quoted, was quoted as saying that while moths seek light, the Mothman seems to seek infamy.
Infamy.
Well, that sounds deep and drastic, but okay.
Now, most recently,
Bracket.
the Mothman has appeared in the skies over Chicago, which bothers me somewhat because my son is living in Chicago at the moment.
Okay, when most recently?
June 2021 is the most recent report.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So that's just a couple months ago.
Oh, no.
That's a pretty long stretch, though, between Chernobyl and June of 2021. Don't we have some more recent history to talk about?
No, not really. I mean, Mothman sightings tend to be clustered in areas. Is there?
Okay.
If you're talking about the butterfly people, we'll get to them.
Okay. So I guess I'm confused then.
Yeah, no, I wanted to clear out the Mothman
Okay.
and then go to the butterfly people.
All right.
Seemed to me to make a good break.
I see.
Break, not raid.
Oh.
Well, that would
Not
be frightening
D&D
for
time. Not right now.
that would be frightening for a moth person, though. Also, if you pulled up, I mean, it could be.
Oh,
maybe.
look, butterflies.
Yeah, that's
Butterflies.
There's butterflies in the room, stained glass butterflies. So that's kind of interesting. Of course, they could be moths.
Oh, that
No,
would be
they're
cool.
butterflies because they've got
They've got the
willy antennas.
twilly too, not the
Oh
feathery.
no, that wouldn't
Now-
be. That
now-
wouldn't be a.
Here's the thing. One of the best recorded sightings in Chicago is a lady that works for the Chicago Department of Aviation.
What does that have to do with knowing bugs?
It doesn't have anything to do with knowing bugs.
She doesn't work for the Chicago Society of Entomology, does she? Because that would be a different story. That would be a moth of a different color, even. Sorry.
She works for the Chicago Department of Aviation, which means to some extent she's a trained observer, like a pilot. And with her to step forward and say, hey, I saw this thing and it looks like the Mothman, it gives her more credibility than, say, Joe person off the street. She deals in facts. She deals in science. She deals in hard science. And for her to say, I saw the Mothman, gives it more credibility to me.
Okay.
As a scientist, I would think it would.
That's what he's saying.
I know.
I need to rein it in. Dad did the whole face thing.
No, you don't. I like him doing that. That's funny.
Now, that was the most recent sighting. And I'm sorry, I was wrong. It's April of 2021, not June. But still,
That's okay.
very recent.
So that was a moth person. And now we're going to talk about butterfly persons.
Well, before we get to the butterfly people,
Do we need to hear a word from our sponsors?
we do. But before that, even,
Oh, I'm sorry.
before that, our good friend Dan Fierce is here, and he has a book on the verge of coming out, if I understand correctly.
It should be coming out, hopefully, at the end of this year or the beginning of next year.
Now, this is Cabin 187, the thing that I helped pick some stories for, or direct some stories for, I guess.
Yes, it's a collection of short stories, and it's based on this cabin that travels through space and time to collect souls. And it's got a central story that wraps around all of the other stories, sort of like Creep Show or one of them.
I like it. I can't think of anybody who's done anything similar as far as authors. Not, I mean, at least not in the big names. Owen Hill didn't do it. Stephen King, Clive Barker. I can't think of anyone who's now. I mean, that. Not saying that there aren't some people who write a central mythos. I mean, Lovecraft did that. King does that. Clive Barker's done that. But rather to have a series of short stories in the same book tied together into an overarching longer story, that's rare.
And as a way of saying thank you to you and your listeners for having me on, I've posted a link that they can go to download a story called The Roadkill King, which is what I call a satellite story of Cabin 187. It takes place in the same universe, but it doesn't take place in the cabin itself.
Okay.
And if they click on the link and they join up with my newsletter by September 15th, they'll get another free story when I send out my newsletter.
Very nice. Well, that's it, folks. If you like good horror, and let me tell you, my buddy writes some of the best, just make sure you go and check his link. Do you have the link that they'll need?
It's a book funnel link. I just posted it to my Instagram and my Twitter page. My Twitter is @DanBFierce1.
Which every Wednesday when I do Well Written Wednesday, you can find his name among the list because he's my friend and I will promote him until I die, which is hopefully a long time away.
We certainly hope so too. Although sometimes you worry me.
Yeah.
But let me see if I can find the actual link here. It's https://dl.bookfunnel, that's bookfunnel.com/4WNSHLIM3K.
Very nice. So make sure you visit that link and join up, follow his newsletter, get your free story, and get a second free story in the newsletter itself coming up. So look forward to that. Now, since we have done our due diligence with my dear friend Danny, and we have reached the point of switching gears, I say we take a few moments for a word for our sponsors. Okay then. Plenty of sponsors here.
Plenty.
We have been sponsored.
Yes.
Sponsored.
So now we're going to...
The butterfly peoples. The butterfly pipples.
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 Word a word I learned from Dan in our youthful friendship.
Humans.
So, I guess for those who don't know us personally, Dan and I's relationship goes back to the 90s.
90s? Wasn't that when you were born?
Oh. Yeah,
Oh no, that's
we're a
when
little
my
bit
teacher
older
was
than that.
born. I'm sorry. Would you like to explain further?
Sure. There's a haunted house in Kansas City. Its name is not important, mostly because I do not want to give them any business. Any business.
No
at all.
business.
It was at one point co-owned by a family. One person has bought it from the rest of the family. And as far as I'm concerned, he's not a good person. So I am not going to talk about him. Or give you the name of his business because you might give him money, and I want to avoid that at all costs. But when we worked there, it was a pretty great little place. A lady ran the show named Loretta. She made us all feel very special. It was like, it wasn't just a job, and it wasn't just getting to spook people. It was kind of like coming home. Every night there was